I think maybe the part of that poem that touches me the most is when the main character, Hillbilly Jim, I didn't tell you the subtitle. Subtitle is How Hillbilly Jim Won the Great Georgia Fiddler's Prize. No, won the Great Fiddler's Prize, a Georgia Romance. Anyway, when Hillbilly Jim is gathering himself there before he starts to play, he instinctively grounds himself in the silence that he grew up with in the mountains. And he says, we're so still it makes you scared where God lies sleeping in his big white beard. And I know that we're grown-ups and, mature, and we've perhaps, put superstition behind us. And I might have some things to say about that another time, but not today. And anyway, we might not be comfortable thinking about how we might, be nourished by being in the presence of God, but apparently Hillbilly Jim doesn't have a problem with it. And he says, I heard the sound of the squirrel in the pine, and I heard the earth a-breathing through the long night time. And then he makes it clear, I think, how he understands what he's competing against. He says, they fiddled the rose and they fiddled the thorn. Now this is, of course, meant to refer to love, romantic love, and the hazards that go with it. The pain of love. He says, but they haven't fiddled the mountain corn. So he's offering us an alternative, the forces of nature, the spirit of nature. He says they fiddled sinful and they fiddled moral. So he here's this ragged kid walks into town armed with his fiddle, and he's going to take on sex and materialism and greed with his fiddle, grounded in and speaking out of the earth, speaking on behalf of the earth, speaking for nature. So as it turns out, he cleans house. I think this story is approximately equivalent to John Muir's comment that in wildness is the preservation of the world. And also it makes me think of what I used to see on the back of the Whole Earth catalog. Maybe it was the last Whole Earth catalog, I'm not sure. But it was a big magazine like this, and black. In the back of it was almost entirely black, and there was just this image of the Earth, the photograph taken from outer space, from the moon perhaps. So you just see this blackness in the Earth, small and fragile and whole. And the caption for the back of this magazine was, "We don't have to put it together, it is together." Now I think we should also add to that while we don't have to put it together, it does fall on us to take responsibility not to wreck it. And in another talk, I'll try and deal as best I can with especially Western civilization, why it is we seem so determined to wreck it. But not today. I think I want to share a little poem of Hafiz with you. Hafiz was a 14th century Persian poet, and still today in Iran his poems are known and spoken. And not knowing Farsi, the language of the Persians, I'm especially grateful to Daniel Ladinsky, who seems to have a wonderful gift for translating Hafiz. I've looked at some translations other than Ladinsky's, of Hafiz's poetry, and I just felt like, where'd Hafiz go? I couldn't find him. But Ladinsky, he's able to bring him here. So Hafiz says, "We have all come to the right place. We all sit in God's classroom. Now, the only thing left for us to do, my dear, is to stop throwing spitballs for a while."